In this section, we're going to discuss first impressions, or why your book cover is so important in the first place. Now consider this, the purpose of your book cover. Why are you creating one? To turn a browser into a reader. You want people that are browsing for a good read to read your book, or at least to read the book description. So if you get them to read the book description, then maybe they'll read the first sentence. If they read the first sentence, they'll read the first page, on and on until they buy your book. So your book cover is the crucial first step in your sales pitch. Now, how does it accomplish this purpose? First, by catching the eye. You want an eye-catching cover, and you can do this through colors, through images, through text. There are several mechanisms that you can use to catch the eye, and you have just a brief moment to convey maybe one or two intriguing pieces of information, right? Maybe the title or the author, something intriguing, something to grab the reader. And you're going to be representing your brand. Now, a brand can either be a series of books, and you can do it through the names or through common pictures or fonts or colors. It can be your author name. Whatever your brand is, your book cover needs to express that as well. It also needs to express genre expectations. So if you're writing a cozy mystery book, you better not have anything gruesome as far as a murder scene on the cover. If you're writing a romance book, naked guys' chests seem to be the most popular. And copying what's popular, I really encourage you to go out and take a look at your genre, see what your competitors are doing, and mimic it. Not exactly copy the cover, but mimic it. Use the same elements. So that's how a book cover attracts attention. Now, we talked about brands, and I want to talk about what is branding. Branding can be a consistent look across a series of books. In fact, here I'm showing you a series of books that are my wife's Chloe Boston Mystery Series. And you can see that I've got a common look and feel to all the book covers so that you can tell one book in the series from another. Another thing that you might be consistent about is all of an author's books. So you might always use the same font for the author's name. You might use images that are common across an author or a series. You might use colors or fonts. All of these things you have to bind and make consistent either a series of books or all books by an author. And notice also your name and the titles that you use, the words that you use in series and so on, can be a binding factor. For instance, if you're writing Donut Shop Cozy Mysteries, you might have the sweet death or something like that. You'll have all kinds of sweet kind of things in your title and so on as part of your brand for that series. Here's another brand to a series that's less tight, but you can see that I use the same kind of lettering for each, and they all have to do with walls. And there's some piece of art on the wall, typically. So that's what unites the Miss Henry brand, a series written by my wife. Now, what about cover sources? Where can you get book covers? First of all, don't use the Amazon built-in book creator. It creates recognizable covers. Anybody that's in the industry recognizes a book cover that was created with that, and they look just kind of tacky. You can pay someone $50 to $100 to create a book cover for you, or what I'm recommending is that you do it yourself for free and get exactly what you want, a professional-looking book cover for free. That's what this video is all about. Now, why create your own book cover? Because it's free, it's easy, it's fast, and it's fun. Why would you give away the fun of creating your book cover to somebody else and then pay them? Now, let's look at book cover fundamentals. We now understand why the book cover is so important, and hopefully you agree to at least look into creating your own. Now we're going to look at what you need to consider when building your book cover. First of all, the book cover elements are this: images, text, and colored boxes. That's what you got to work with. So it's not going to be that complicated. Let's look at images first. So when you pull an image onto a book cover, you have two options. You can do a full cover image, as in this example where the image covers the entire book cover, and then you have text and colored boxes on top. Or you can do an inset type of image, as in this example where you've got a lot of boxes all over the screen and a solid background. Now let's look at text, background, colors, and images. There's two rules that you want to follow in putting this together. Do light on dark when it comes to text on something, and do dark on light. These are the two kind of options. You're always going to be playing at grays in between, but try to make your text pop by putting it over something dark, by making it light if you put it over something dark, and making it dark if you put it over something light. You want your text to be readable. That's one of the big goals of making a book cover. Now, what else can we say about text? Use thicker fonts to keep the text readable. Notice in this book cover on the right how I got nice bulky fonts. If you go for those willowy, nice handwritten type of fonts, as the image gets smaller and smaller, those little willowy lines begin to disappear and pixelate. So use big bulky fonts and keep the text readable. And also, use background colored boxes. If this text had been over the image, it would have gotten really complicated because the image has light areas and this is light text. In fact, I wouldn't have known whether to use dark or light text on it. So I used a colored box for the background of the text to make the text pop. That's one of the purposes of colored boxes. So let's look at colored boxes. You use them to create designs. You can make entire book covers of just colored boxes of different colors at different angles, kind of an abstract book cover, or you use them to make text pop. So you make the text stand out by putting a colored box behind the text, as in this example to the right. Now let's take a look at some colored box techniques. The first one you have is to use a solid colored box. That will really make things stand out. It's a little, it lacks a little in sophistication and is a little in your face. But don't worry, there are other options for doing colored boxes in the background. Like one is transparent. Have it blend into the background a little bit so you can actually see the background, but it does darken things up to make the text pop. Another option is to do a gradient, where you do one color to another. And the final option is to do a drop shadow. Now here you can just barely see my drop shadow, but trust me, there is one. And you do this by putting a darker box in the background and making it transparent, by offsetting it just a little bit too. So there's some box creation techniques. Now, my book cover design tools include a tool called the GIMP, the GNU Image Manipulation Program. This is a free program, and I use it for the heavy lifting because it's kind of complex. It's not real easy to do everything. Now, I started a while ago using PowerPoint to create book covers because it was easy, and I'm using PowerPoint all the time. I use PowerPoint to create this slide that you're looking at. Now, the problem is that it costs, so you actually have to license PowerPoint. Now I've come up with a third option that I'm beginning to push called Canva. This is an online book cover creator, so all you need is a browser. It's easy to use and it's free. Now, free, some of their templates and so on, they start trying to tempt you with the neater templates and the neater images to charge you. But if you discipline yourself, you can actually keep things free on Canva. And one of the ways that I keep things free is by using Pixabay for free images.